couples therapist, this is when I get the most concerned about a relationship. When the anger goes silent, when she stops yelling, when she stops asking, when she stops sharing what she wants and needs. Many people think that this is a sign that things are getting better, that there's less nagging, there's less complaining, there's less pointing out what you've been doing wrong. But when the anger leaves the relationship, it means the one who has been trying to hold this together is getting burnt out, and she's stopped trying. Here's the thing. The anger in a relationship is hard to deal with. We don't like anger. A lot of us don't know how to deal with it. A lot of us don't even know what it means. But when one person is angry, it means they continue to pursue you. They're knocking at your door. They're protesting. They're saying, I want something to be different. And the other person is often defensive. They shut down. They don't know what to do with it. And that makes sense. But the piece is that when she stops being angry, it means she's fatigued. It means she's exhausted and she's tired of trying to carry the weight of the relationship. And if she's not trying to bridge closeness between the two of you, then neither one of you are doing it. And that's the red flag. Here's what I want you to know about anger. Anger feels really hard for us to experience, but there's often so much underneath it. Sometimes anger is a primary emotion, meaning it's at the core of what the experience is. A primary emotion is often something that's softer, harder to access. We don't like to hang out in them a lot. Those are emotions like sadness, pain, loss, anxiety. Oftentimes, anger is a secondary feeling, a secondary emotion. And what that means is that it's like the tip of the iceberg and it's covering up all of the emotions that are below the surface. Anger is easier for us to sit in rather than having to be vulnerable into those harder feelings. And so when you hear your partner being angry, it's so important to ask yourself, what other feeling is happening here? What am I missing underneath this? So often what happens in a relationship is your partner is protesting for your attention. She's knocking at your door. Hello, do you hear me? She ups the ante. And in response to that, people often either protest louder or they get defensive or they shut down. And every time a partner does that, it sends the signal that they're not important and that they don't matter. Over time, she fatigues. She gets tired and she stops knocking at the door. It's so important for you to start to see that her anger is not about what she's talking about, but it's about what's underneath that. This is about wondering, do you see me? Am I important to you? Do you see all that I am here? And do I even matter to you? But often when she stops protesting, she's starting to build an emotional world inside of herself that doesn't include you in it. So from an emotionally focused couples therapy framework, what we tend to see happening is that pursuing partner who tends to do the protest, then she gets burnt out. She's called the burnt out pursuer in EFT language. And then her partner who was once defensive or shut down, sometimes they click in and they feel that burnout. It's almost like she rolls out of the relationship and stops trying. And this is an alarm bell to her partner saying, oh no, what's happening? And so the defensive person then sometimes starts to pursue the other person. What's difficult here is that we know from research in couples therapy is that when one person goes into this emotional withdrawal, it is one of the most predictive signs of divorce and long-term dissatisfaction. It's not the yelling, it's not the fighting, because that's the signal that you still matter to me, but it's actually the silence. If you're finding yourself in this position, let's talk about what you can start doing. One, I think you need to acknowledge that you didn't get here overnight, so it's not going to take a one quick fix solution. Instead, this is about rebuilding trust, safety, and security. I think of Dr. Sue Johnson's A.R.E conversation, and it's the A.R.E stands for A, are you there for me? R, are you responsive? Will you actually respond to me if I turn to you? And E stands for engaged. Will you engage with me? Which is, will you listen? Will you be curious about what I'm saying without problem solving and fixing? Will you be vulnerable with me and not use my vulnerability against me next time? This is the type of conversation we're aiming for. And you likely weren't having these before, which is what's leading you here now. Remember that this doesn't change overnight, but it is about consistency and small actions forward every single day. This takes time to change. The second thing is to start sharing feelings and needs. This is about connecting emotionally within ourselves. It's not about talking about the weather. It's not about talking about grass or what you plan to do on the weekend. This is about sharing feelings and your experiences day to day. For some couples, they find it helpful in my emotion guide. They print out the emotion wheel that helps them. They sit down at the dinner table and once a day say they share one feeling that happened, and the other person's job is just to listen to it, to ask questions, to fully understand it, to paint a picture of what your person has experienced. But there's one more piece that really needs to show up in this dynamic, and that's around you dropping your defensiveness. Defensiveness is part of the dynamic that got you here, and it's part of what's creating that distance and separation between you and your partner. Defensiveness is like putting a wall here, and it's like saying, I will not see you. It's almost like this push against the other person, and that creates separation and distance. Instead, you want to practice connection. You want to practice validating the other person. You want to practice taking accountability and ownership for some small piece of how you're starting the cycle between you and your partner. Remember, validating your partner does not mean you're saying, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm such a screw up. It means I see your experience, even if it's different than mine, I can understand what it must be like to be you. If you're in this quiet season of your relationship, I want to remind you that this doesn't mean it's over. It's a warning sign for you that you can take action and do something different. The real question here is, are you willing to listen, and are you willing to respond and to rebuild your partnership? All right, let me know what you think below. Click like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.